Hey guys, it's Stephen here with a fragrance review, and I'm taking a look at Christian Dior's Fahrenheit, released in 1987. So I'm older than this fragrance, I believe, because I was born in early January. So this fragrance contains notes of, and I'm going to take these slowly now because I'm trying to really appreciate the notes in Fahrenheit. It's an incredibly complex fragrance, so I want to kind of try and get into the notes a bit and really get in depth. So at the top there's lavender, mandarin orange, hawthorn flower, nutmeg flower, cedarwood, bergamot, chamomile and lemon. So when you first spray this on, like I'm about to, also an extremely good atomizer on this, you can really control and you've got a good control over the amount you distribute. Off the top, these notes don't really do it justice. There's definitely that kind of violet, that really burnt gasoline accord. And it does come off as very floral. I'm finding it very hard to actually discern and pick out individual notes. However, the violet is there, which is actually in the mid notes, and you just get a very gasoline-y burnt vibe. However, I've worn this fragrance a lot, and I don't always get that same opening. Sometimes I put this fragrance on, and you just don't get that burnt kind of rubber gasoline-y accord. It's like a much more flowery overload. But today, I've literally just jumped out of the shower, so very clean skin, and yeah, it's smelling very burnt. And this does last for about an hour or so, and then that fades away, which brings you kind of into the mid notes, and then the petroleum note is kind of gone or a bit more in the background, and then the floweriness comes forward to me. So going on to the middle now, there's nutmeg, but not nutmeg flower like it's in the top. There's honeysuckle, carnation, which is a note you don't see often in fragrances nowadays. Sandalwood, violet leaf, jasmine, lily of the valley, and for some reason cedar's listed again, but according to Fragrantica. So in the base note now, the violet leaf is there quite heavily. I also noticed this is there at the start, which, I don't know, I don't really pay too much attention to the top, middle and notes, because with many fragrances I find that you can smell things in the base immediately upon smelling it. Like patchouli, for example, is often in the base, but sometimes that's incredibly noticeable from the start. And like again, patchouli's in this, and you can definitely smell it to some degree. It's not very strong initially, but it does come through to the top, even though it's deep in the base. So in the middle, I'm not sure, I'm not too familiar with nutmeg. It's quite a spicy scent as far as I'm aware, but I'm not too, able to detect that. Sandalwood, this fragrance does have a very woody feeling going on, and the violet leaf is very prominent then again. Jasmine, not necessarily, I don't pick that up. Jasmine I find is quite a dirty flower, not like nasty dirty, but it's not like a pretty scent. Like most flowers, like roses for example, they have a very beautiful smell, but to me jasmine is kind of a bit like, not nasty, it's kind of like, what am I trying to say here? Dirty, but not in a nasty way. Lily of the valley, I can't really pick that up, and cedar, yeah, sometimes, I get an overall woodiness, but I'm not able to detect the sandalwood and cedar specifically. Going on to the base then, we have leather, tonka, amber, patchouli, musk and vetiver. So Fahrenheit is really considered a leather fragrance, like the leather in the base kind of really comes through, but I'll be honest, I really struggle to actually detect that. Like from a lot of fragrances that contain leather, I'll be honest, I really do find it hard to pick up leather as a note generally. Things like quorum, that's quite leathery, aramis, even like sort of my Tuscan leather clones, like I don't know, I just can't pick up leather that well. So yeah, with these base notes, probably patchouli, musk and vetiver are the ones that's most prominent to me. Like the vetiver brings it quite an earthy feeling as well as the patchouli. The musk is not strong in any way. Like, it's not strong in the sense that Kouros's musk is quite prominent, but it's much more in the background here. And it's there, but it's hard to kind of feel it sometimes. And yeah, so that's the notes overall, and I find this is an incredibly complex fragrance, Like I said, I don't get the same vibe and feeling every time that I wear it. I remember the first time I ever tried this fragrance, I did not like it at all, the kind of burnt petrol note in there just kind of really put me off. And then I remember sort of 2 hours later, I smelled it again and I did a complete 180 in the fragrance. I thought, fucking hell, this is really nice. And it's kind of weird, like, I don't get the same notes every time. Sometimes the orange at the top is very prominent. Sometimes you get this like honeyish, like I'm not too sure what honeysuckle smells like, sorry. But you do get this kind of sweetness to there. The petrol note is there, but not always. I find the one consistent thing is Vitality for sure. And like again, like leather. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think I can smell the leather, but I can't say for sure. Like that's really strange to say, but yeah. There's a lot of floral notes in here, and sometimes to me Fahrenheit is just extremely floral. It's just very dependent. I'm not sure how much like seasons and temperature plays into which notes are more prominent, but I think it definitely does. Like it's quite warm today, so it's bringing out that classical Fahrenheit scent, I guess. I find it very masculine, you know, like it's just undoubtedly a very masculine fragrance, even though it has very heavy floral notes. They are more kind of masculine ones to me. Like I think jasmine. I find jasmine quite masculine, to be honest, and stuff like vetiver and musk and patchouli, definitely so. And one thing I want to mention, which I've not really heard or read anybody saying about, is the chamomile. So I drink chamomile tea quite frequently, and it must have been about 2 to 3 weeks ago. I was making a cup, and I was straining the chamomile tea bag against the edge of the cup, you know, squeezing it with a fork so all the extra juice comes out, whatever, and you know, it kind of released this chamomile aroma. And as I hit my nose, I thought, Jesus Christ, Fahrenheit, you know. I've never ever had that association before. So when I came back and I looked at the notes, I was so surprised to actually see that chamomile featured in Fahrenheit. And I have seen a few people mention that that is kind of what contributes to the burnt and the gasoline note is the chamomile. Like, I've got chamomile essential oil and just smell it from the cup there. Like, if you don't really strain the tea bag, it doesn't smell too strongly, but when you do, it just gives this kind of a darker smell, you know. And yeah, I've definitely picked that up in Fahrenheit. Like things like bergamot, I can't really notice that. I mean, it's an orange note, so I guess that's mixing in with the mandarin orange, and it's maybe hard to actually separate the two, and you just get an overall orangey feel. And I think that's my general opinion of the fragrance. I can't really discern the notes individually, but I think they blended very well to create an undetectable individual note. Yeah, I've described that really badly. And yeah, I did read as well that Fahrenheit is apparently very heavy in ISO-E super. I think it was either like 25 or 40% full of ISO-E super. And I don't really know what that smells like in isolation, so I can't comment on that, but just thought I'd throw that out there. So, and get into situations and versatility with Fahrenheit now. So I've been wearing this for about a year now. I've only recently bought it, but I'm often testing it in a sort of drugstore that sells fragrances near me. And yeah, it's undoubtedly fallen into one of my most favourite fragrances. My top 5. It's in my top 5 easily. And like I said, I didn't really like it when I first wore it, but now I just absolutely adore the scent. I think that the versatility is really good. I did start wearing it probably about June or July last year, so in the summer temperatures. So I have kind of tested the fragrance throughout all the seasons, and I find it's usable in all seasons. People would probably classify this more as basically every season besides summer, but I think if you go easy on the sprays, then you can definitely pull this off in summer. Like, it's not too dark at times because of the floral nature. That can increase the versatility in my opinion. And yeah, definitely you can see myself wearing this all the time. I have 2 other flankers of Fahrenheit, so I have Absolute here and Fahrenheit Cologne. And I'll be honest, I prefer the original. I'm going to be definitely getting some good wearings out of this now come spring and summer. But I wouldn't say, oh, this is definitely, don't wear this. I wouldn't say don't wear this in the summer and wear the lighter version instead. I think if you go easy on this, then it'll work well. The smell, to me, I prefer the smell of this of the original to both these flankers. I think I've smelled the Parfum version and Aqua, but I'm not too sure. I can't really remember, so I can't comment on those, sorry. But yeah, to me this is very, very versatile. I wear it to work. I wear it casually. I think it'll work well formally. It can just be classed up, classed down. It's a winner. Price wise, I paid about 40 quid for the 50ml. Annoyingly, I did spend quite a bit of money kind of finding different clones of Fahrenheit and trying to find something that captured the original very well, but I did end up buying the original, so the money I spent purchasing clones would have been better off actually just going towards a full bottle of the original, but oh well. And speaking of the clones, I have I kind of have 4 Fahrenheit-like smells here. There's the Man Cobalt by Milton Lloyd. I've done a review of this, and this is actually an extremely good copy of Fahrenheit. We have Lynx or Axe Peace, which is an antiperspirant here, and it also comes in a body wash. And this is very heavy on the violet leaf, and just because of that alone, I find it just kind of reminds me of Fahrenheit. Like ever since I smelled this, any scent which contains violet leaf, I can't help but just think of Fahrenheit. You know, as soon as I smell that, I'm like, Fahrenheit. It's it's just a case of what I smelled first containing that, but the comparison I was always going to lead back to this. Another clone I have here is FM56 by Federica Mahora. These are okay. I had 2, like the different strengths, basically different concentrations. And it's a hit or miss fragrance that sometimes it's quite dead on to Fahrenheit, other times it's just weird and nowhere near. I don't know why it's so kind of different, but I wouldn't really recommend that, to be honest. I also have 2 oils, like Precious Pearls here. They do a roll-on 10ml oil. I'm not too fussed on this, to be honest. I don't find it that close to the original. It's quite heavy on the violet, like there's a very strong violet note throughout, and it smells more like violet as opposed to violet leaf, and I just don't think it's that similar. And then I have Perfume Parlor's Fahrenheit one here. Conversely, this smells absolutely incredible. Like this is the best clone I've tried, no doubt. Like when you roll some on, you got that instant burn feeling, and really good. So I've kind of swayed away from the review a bit now, but I'll jump back onto it. So situations and versatility, I've covered that. And performance, yeah, it's kind of hit or miss, you know. I get maybe 6 hours on average. Sometimes it'll extend up to 8 hours. And other times I'm sure I've had like 10 hours of it, where I've sprayed around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and come like 12 o'clock at night, I can still actually smell remnants of the fragrance, although that may be kind of stuck to my shirt if I sprayed onto my chest. But the performance is nothing to complain about for sure. Like, it's adequate, it's above average in my opinion, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. The projection's pretty good. You're going to kind of produce a nice scent bubble for 2-3 hours. I think it leaves a good strong scent trail behind you as you're walking about. And I remember I put 3 sprays of this on and I went shopping, and just walking around the supermarket, I could just absolutely feel this like kind of radiating fragrance bubble around me, like, and I was a bit concerned I put too much on, but I thought, whatever, nobody said anything to me anyway, so yeah. And when I wear this, it just makes me feel good. Fahrenheit to me is an astounding fragrance. Like, for the age, it still holds up remarkably well. It's like it's 30 years old now, same age as me, and this is an absolute masterpiece. It's timeless. Like, it smells as good now as it probably did back in the day. Can't really comment on that, to be honest, but yeah, again, reformulation has apparently changed this. People are saying the most recent versions have kind of gone back to how the scent used to smell, but I've never tried the original one to comment on that, and I'm not going to be hunting them down because I actually have 2 bottles here, so I'm pretty good, you know. So summary, or final ratings and whatnot, and I give this fragrance, scent-wise, it's a 10. I find it unique from, you know, considering when it was created. It stacks up well today. Like I said, it's timeless, it's complex, you're not going to get the same scent out of it. Different people will smell differently with this on. My co-worker is very fond of this, and it does smell a bit differently on me compared to him, and it's an absolutely incredible scent for sure, guys. Let's see what else is there. Performance, and I give this an 8 out of 10. Like I said, it's above average, and I think it's not like a powerhouse in my opinion. It may have been back in the day, but I don't really think it's a strong fragrance, but not necessarily loud. Like, the characteristics of the fragrance is strong, but it's not like radiating too heavily, and it's not too strong. Like, it depends on how many sprays you put on. I think, for example, if you put 8 on, you will be kind of stinking the place out. But that's going to be down to your judgment, I think. So 8 out of 10 for longevity and performance. And overall, I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. I want to give it a 10 and call it an absolute masterpiece, but I think... Now, I know at 10, the versatility to me is definitely nothing to complain about. It's good enough. So I don't think any extra longevity would improve the fragrance or kind of push it up to that 10 out of 10. I think the fragrance is there anyway. So yeah, in my opinion, this is a 10 out of 10, despite having not the most amazing longevity. I don't care. The smell alone trumps that and just kind of compensates for any... There's no negativity to the performance, so yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching my review, and all the best, and take care. So, bye.